Hello and welcome to Leeds United latest here on the West Yorkshire Football Show with myself, Stephen Brown, and joining me, Jason Booker. Welcome along. Get your likes on the video, get subscribed to the channel, and get your comments in. Lots to discuss. We're going to talk a little bit about making it to the semi-final of the FA Cup. But have we paid a price regarding injuries? We've got Outer Naka rumours, James Trafford rumours, and obviously we've got a massive game to preview on Monday night as well against the old enemy Man United. Jason, busy as always. We now know that it's going to be Chelsea on the 26th of April, Sunday, 3 o'clock kickoff, as the excitement builds for that. And we found out, obviously, the Bournemouth game got rearranged to midweek on the Wednesday, but at least, I guess, playing on the Sunday gives us that extra bit of rest period, which I think is going to be quite vital with the way the squad is being stretched at the minute. But gives us something really exciting to look forward to in April, amongst, obviously, the pressure of fighting for survival.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably going to be a nice distraction, and who knows what the picture will look like come then. I'm glad that we've got the Wolves and the Bournemouth game kind of before it. It kind of lets us know probably what we're going to need. And what would that then leave us with? 4 games to go?
Yeah, not much more than that, no.
Try, innit? 7 to go.
Yeah, because what have we got left in April? We've got 3 league games left in April.
And you, Wolves, Bournemouth.
And Bournemouth, yeah. So it's oh god. It's that stage here now where I'm looking at it going like it's squeaky bum time.
Browney, I mean, in all honesty, and look, we'll come to the injuries and we'll talk about them isolated. I'm going to try and talk about the picture of the relegation battle as if we haven't got them injuries right now, because ultimately it doesn't change what we do need to do and don't need to do. We still need to win a certain amount of points, right? And it might just make it slightly harder, but we have a squad. We have a Premier League squad for a reason, and that's when these players come into it. So look, as we said in the review show the other day, the imperative kind of nature of just getting points on the board as quickly as possible just comes to my mind all the time. And sure, we want to do it in the quickest time possible, and that starts with the Manchester United game on Monday. I personally don't think that's our most difficult game between now and the end of the season. People will be like, what are you talking about? I just look at it as in, look, people got really cross when I called it a derby. Like, it's a rivalry, fine, but it's a derby. It's a war of the road.
People like annoyed at the terminology or something.
People were really upset about the fact that I called it a derby, and they were like, no, it's not a derby. Our derbies are against Huddersfield or Bradford. I'm like, what? Like, or it's a Manchester derby because they're both in Manchester. I was like, well, whatever. Like, I mean, I don't see it like that, but
that's too short in it to argue over the semantics.
Anyway, I see this game personally as not easier, but I think there's more opportunity for points in this game than Bournemouth away, as an example.
Yeah.
I think Bournemouth away is probably our most difficult one between now and the end of the season. We never travel well there. We just don't. We got relegated pretty much the last time we went there. If you remember, we got beat 4-1, I think it was, towards the end of the season that we went down, and we were terrible. We were so poor that day.
Yeah.
So I look at that as actually being more of a difficult game. And, you know, then the last 4 is Spurs, Burnley, West Ham on the final day, and I'm missing one. Brighton at home. Yeah, so that last 4, you know, plenty of opportunities for points. But yeah, kind of just coming back to my point, because I'm taking a long time to make it, is that just trying to get them points on the board as quickly as possible. And I am really, really, really looking forward to Monday. Really looking forward to it. I feel like it's a free hit, if you want to say that. I don't think it is, but you know what I mean? Like, it kind of feels a little bit like that. And I just want us to go there and enjoy it. And I'm buzzing at the opportunity to try and beat them again.
Yeah, I know what you mean, absolutely. Gav, morning all. I will play Longstaff on Monday for his Premier League experience. So we'll kind of finish up previewing that Man United game fully. But obviously at the weekend, we knew things potentially didn't look good on the injury front. Stack coming off. Okafor was holding his back. Rodon had to come off as well. And we've had Farke's press conference yesterday So he was saying not the best news today. Stack will miss Monday, ankle injury. Rodon will miss the game also, ankle injury. And we know Dan James is out now. Farke also said that we're unlikely to see Stack or Rodon back playing a game in April, which is, not great to hear. And it's one of those things, I think we've done relatively well with injuries this season.
We have.
We've had a lot of availability. We've also had players that have kind of been sat round as well. You look at Longstaff and everything who've been fit and ready, but we've not had the space or need to put them in the team. But it feels now as if it's that extra bit of spice going into the last few games. It's like, okay, not only are we kind of competing on two fronts now, two competitions, but a couple of injuries in there. I mean, two figures, they're near the top of my list of players I wouldn't want to be missing.
100%, yeah.
Anton Stack has been, he just looks like the best player in the team. The way he operates, ball carrying, defensively, physically. He's almost like you kind of what you need in the Premier League. If you had to kind of design a player for the modern day Premier League, it would be Anton Stack. Joe Rodon, phenomenal. I think he did have a little bit of a kind of, not a wobble or anything, but just a period where he wasn't quite at his best, January time after he got that knock. But I think he's been absolutely superb in the last few games. And I think he's a real leader. And I think he'll be a real big miss as well. Those two in particular, Jay, missing them for April. What are your thoughts on that?
I think Stack's massive. His quality has been evident all season. But I'd say since the turn of the year, he's looked head and shoulders our best midfielder.
Yeah.
When Altanaka's probably struggled for form, when Longstaff's quality, is up and down, and there's bits that I like a Longstaff, but the bits that I don't. When you look at Gruev and you think of the limitations that he's got on him, even though I like a lot of what he does, Ilya Gruev can't do next to anything going forward. He's defensively very, very good, switched on, game reading's brilliant, but and I even include Ampadu in this as well, because Ampadu is very much a number 4 figure, in my opinion. I don't think he's got box-to-box capabilities. He's not got the capabilities to score goals. He's just not got that in him. Stack's got it all. Stacks have got all of what they've got, and then his own quality as well on top of that. He's the extra pedigree. Then you also add in the set piece qualities. He's good for a goal from a free kick, which is pretty bloody important. So it's hard not to look at that and think it's a massive miss. I can't think of another name, probably other than Ethan Ampadu, just because of how pivotal he is for the team and in that position, that I would want to lose less than Anton Stack. So, I think it's massive. And I think it's even more massive for Monday's game than it is for... I think the quality difference between us and Wolves, as an example, or not the quality difference between us and Wolves, but the drop-off from Stack to Tanaka, as an example, isn't going to affect us against Wolves like it will do on Monday night. When you've got the likes of Bruno Fernandes in there, Casemiro in there, Kobe Mainu, whoever else they might play in there, to have Stack's quality gives us a real chance of winning that game, or gives us a better chance of winning that game. Whereas without him, it's a serious drop-off. So it's going to hurt, mate. It's going to hurt. And Joe, obviously, he's had up and down throughout the season, but he's still Mr. Dependable. I'd still say all at their very best, is probably the best centre-back, or the second best centre-back behind Jacobiol that we've got. I think he performs that right centre-back role the best out of all of the available options all round. I think defensively and going forward, he's got a really good flavour to the way that he plays out on that right wing when he overlaps. So, it's frustrating, mate. But, as I said at the beginning, we have a squad for a reason. And also, injuries happen. And we haven't had a lot of them this season. And we just need to make sure that we still get the points on the board. That's all that matters.
Yeah, indeed. A couple of comments to flag up. Gav, West Ham at full strength tonight. Up Wolves, do us a favour. Also, Hammers Football TV. Thanks for dropping in, mate. Good morning, gents. Just dropping in to hit the like button. Just sub to you too. Big weekend for both our clubs. Good luck. Catch up soon, indeed. Yeah, it's amazing how many games, Leeds games, West Ham fans are watching. Amazing how many West Ham games Leeds fans are watching.
And I'll just say as well, I don't think there's many Leeds fans that want to see West Ham go down, by the way.
No.
I think that very much is reserved for Forest and Spurs in terms of the hope.
Yeah.
We just hope that one of you finishes below us. That's all that really matters. But I quite like West Ham, really. I think that there's a little bit. I've said all season to you, I think that they've kind of aided their own downfall a little bit this season, especially early on in the year when it were woe is me, the stadium shit, everything shit, bored, we hate them all. I think they were actually ended up creating a lot of their own problems.
Yeah.
But as a club, I've always kind of held a bit of a soft spot for West Ham. I hope that they get themselves out of it as a not as the direct
Not at our expense.
Yeah, not at our expense.
Yeah, I'd second that. I don't mind the Hammers. Other concerns then. Jay Beal struggling with a knock. He's not had no team training this week at all. Okafor also not in team training. Goodmanson making a bit of progress after a light groin problem. I think the Goodmanson sounds a bit more promising out of those. Okafor, it's a frustrating one because you saw exactly what he can offer against West Ham, but it's like 1 in 8 games we seem to get, and then another issue seems to happen. Unfortunate for him, you can't be, blaming the player, so to speak, but it's just so frustrating because it just reeks of the Sinistera issue we had all those years ago, and you need your best players available, and he's just not been able to be consistently in the team due to fitness issues, and but he's such a massive threat. I guess it's one of those, if maybe you can get 30 minutes out of him Monday night at least, just to try and impact it somehow, and hopefully he can be more available for this last month and a half of the season. But he's one of them players, isn't he? You're always kind of worried that you're just going to, get the update from Beren Cross saying, yeah, Okafor's done for 6 weeks with a groin, or, just one of those players in that camp, isn't it, where there's always something.
It's a funny one. You've mentioned Sinistera before, and it's absolutely spot on. Is very, very similar in profile, quality, and the way that he even looks on the pitch is very similar. The way that he affects games, and I mean, we'd been without Noah for I think it was 2 or 3 weeks before the West Ham game, obviously the international break, so probably 5 or 6 weeks in total that Noah Okafor had been out of the side, and he looked, I thought, like he was really fit and strong. He looked good to go, and he was right from word go. We're really at West Ham. But then you see the knock that he takes, and you're just bracing yourself with him all the time. But it does come with the reality, Browney, that without that, he probably won't be with us at this stage. Because I do think he's not above us, but because of his raw quality, there's a reason that Milan bought him.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. There's a reason that he was coveted in the way that he was, and there was a reason that he had the reputation at Leipzig that he had. At Leipzig,
yeah, I think it was
one of them. Salzburg, okay, one of the Red Bull boys, anyway. But that's the reason that he was so, he's brought himself back into the Switzerland squad without even really playing at Leeds. He's a bit of a character as well, but he's got so much potential and quality, and if you can get him fully fit, it makes a massive difference. But we wouldn't be signing him if he hadn't had injury issues in our first season up. You don't come across many Rafinhas, do you?
No.
You know what I mean? So you just have to kind of take the rough with the smooth and try and get him back into the team as soon as possible, because it does make all the difference. We looked like scoring from minute 1 against West Ham, whereas for weeks we've not looked like scoring, and he's the difference. And Autanaka as well. To give Autanaka his credit for that performance, he made a big difference, and the tactics to a point as well, punching through the lines and all the rest of it that we mentioned the other night. So it's with Noah, it's forever going to be frustrating. And Beal's a funny one, because I think Beal's sensational. I think he's a fantastic centre back. I think he's the best centre back that we've got, especially in the centre of a 3. I think he's a joy to watch. He reads the game extremely well, gets in front of the attacker at the right time, holds off at the right time, brilliant in the air. He's commanding. He's scary to play against, I think, because he's big and strong. But for a centre-back, he gets a lot of injuries. I said this to you the other day, and it only kind of dawned on me on the back of this one, because centre-backs usually are pretty free from injury. Joe Rodon, I think, had 120 appearances in a row without an injury. Pascal's always had a bit of a niggle, but as a general kind of rule, centre-backs play every week, don't they? They're the ones out of the outfield players that you see playing week in, week out. Less impactful runs, games more in front of them, and all of these reasons why. But Yaka he seems to take knocks and then need 1 or 2 weeks to recover from it, whereas other centre-backs are just capable of kind of getting on. Like, I know if Joe had Yaka's injury or knock or whatever he's got, Joe Rodon would be playing on Monday night.
Yeah.
I know that. Whereas Yaka, for whatever reason, just can't. But that's I guess.
Yeah, it's a funny one, isn't it? Because he had that, he'd kind of cemented his spot, and then he got that injury, didn't he? And then he kind of was out of the team for a few weeks, and it is a strange one, because you expect with centre backs that consistency. Is it anything to do with the kind of defender he is? He's very physical, all action. I would say that, but obviously we've got Joe Rodon, who's exactly the same, throws himself into everything. But it just feels like, it was a bit of a, but seeing that was a bit of like, we don't need that as well. We don't need that as well.
Especially both of them at the same time. But you see, Joe Rodon did his ankle against Sunderland, and the likelihood is, we're against Sunderland, we're against Newcastle before that.
Sunderland,
Sunderland, wasn't it? Ankles have memories, they have histories. The likelihood is he's probably been playing with strapping, because he came back really quick. I think he was back within 2 weeks, and it was a bad one because he got a whack, carried on, then got another whack on the same ankle, and then had to come off. So the likelihood is that he has probably been playing with some sort of strap on his ankle over the last few weeks, and then went over. And I know I wear a strap for every single time I play football on my right ankle. They have memories, and once they go once or twice, they start becoming a bit of a niggle. So it's gutting. I think Beale will make it. If I'm honest, I think he'll make it just because of the severity in the situation within the squad. And then I reckon if Gabby makes it, Justin will be alongside him and Pascal. And if Gabby doesn't make it, Justin will be on the left wing, and then you'll have Bornau. And we've seen that Bornau can come in and do a job. He's dead, but it is a drop-off. It's a big drop-off from either Joe Rodon or Beale. It's similar to the Stack in midfield conversation. It's just less important at the back. You're not as imperative to the game as Anton Stack is.
No. Well, this is the thing, isn't it? Because the Gabby one is huge, isn't it? Because if he's out, then there's only really Justin that you would think can slot into that role. So that's a potential centre-back that's out or who's played in that centre-back role. And if Rodon and Beale are out, does he stick with the three at the back and stick Ampadu, Seb, who would be left there, Strauch at the back, and then you've got a rejig midfield. Then in midfield, you Gruev, Tanaka, Longstaff, maybe, or it's.
I honestly believe we'd see a change in formation.
Yeah,
I think you would see a back four, and then it'd be Pascal and I'm talking if Beale and Rodon are both out.
Yeah,
you'd probably see a back two of Pascal and Bornau, and then Gabby or Justin. If Gabby's out as well, Justin would be at left back. I don't think he'll drag Ampadu out of the midfield to make a back five, especially with Anton Stack being out.
No,
I just can't see it.
No, you can see he's just too vital a cog, isn't he, in there, and to kind of rip him out as well. It's a bit of a selection minefield, isn't it, for that game?
Well, I mean, what would you do?
Jay, could we see Buonanotte bench at least? Do we think?
I think he'll be on the bench.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine like there's Chambers on the bench or something. No Buonanotte. I think we'll see him on the bench just because of the amount of injuries that we're probably going to have. The likelihood is I think we'll end up, without Okafor, Rodon and Stack. I think it'll be them three. I think Beale will play, and I think Gabby will probably play as well, or play some part within the squad, which then will leave obviously a multitude of kind of issues. I think you'll end up seeing Nonto if Okafor's out. I think Nonto'll start. I think Brendan will start over Stack, and I think it'll be Tanaka and Ampadu. I think I have a feeling he's going to want to try and go for this one.
Yeah.
More than you would ordinarily think in an away Premier League game under Daniel Farke. I'd be really surprised if Gruev starts. Just because of the way that seems intuitive from the way that we would normally set up in these games, but I think he will be seeing this as close to a free pass as possible. He'll be seeing this as an opportunity to get 3 random points on the board that takes the pressure off of the Wolves game, take the pressure off the Brighton game, the Burnley game. You know what I mean? So I actually think he will probably go for this as much as he possibly can do, given the squad that we've got.
Does what happens over the weekend play a factor into this, though? Because
great question.
One of those, I mean, if we're going into Monday night and let's say we've been leapfrogged by Forest, or I don't know who Forest and Spurs are playing, actually, I forget. But, and if West Ham win tonight, and, let's say that gap is to 1 point on Monday, which I think is very feasible. I think, we could definitely be looking at that. What does that do to the psyche? Does it make you tighten up a little bit when you're going, does it kind of add that edge to it? Whereas, maybe if we've still got that 4-point gap going into Monday, it is almost like, look, if you just take a swing at this and if you hit and get 3 points, you're nearly, you'd be up to 36 points, then you're nearly there. You're right on the edge of being over the line. Psychologically, that's the thing, isn't it? When you're playing that kind of final game Monday after all the other results, how that's going to play into it.
It's fascinating, mate. It really, really is fascinating. Like, and it's a great question, and I actually do think it will make a difference for Daniel Farke. Yeah, I think it will. I think he'll be very much looking at this on a week-by-week, game-by-game basis. So Spurs have got Sunderland away, and Forest have got Villa at home.
Yeah.
So tricky games for different reasons. Spurs first game under De Zerbi. Sunderland, I've made my opinions on them clear. They were brilliant against Newcastle. However, it'll be good if they can keep that form, that performance going into this Spurs game. I had a look at Spurs injury updates yesterday, and they're still expected to have 10 out for the Sunderland game.
Has had a setback as well, hasn't he?
Yeah,
running it for the season. Yeah,
I don't think De Zerbi is just going to come in and miraculously be able to change it all overnight. I do believe, though, he will have been able to command a certain level of respect from the Spurs players that maybe the other managers haven't been able to do. And I do believe in the short term, he could be a motivational injection that they need. I don't think it's anything to do with quality or tactics. I think it's in here with Spurs. So if you can get the right message across in a short period of time, whether it goes right long term or not is irrelevant. Over this next 7 games, I think he will be able to get enough points on the board. I think that it could. It's almost kind of like a must-win for Spurs, because if this goes bad at the weekend, the rot instantly sets back in. And I think then with 6 games to go, it's hard to get out. But if they beat Sunderland away, I think it'll set them off. I think they'll probably get 2, 3, 4 wins, and they'll be comfortable. So it's a massive game for Spurs. I think Forest struggle against Villa at home. I think that would be one that I'd expect Villa to win, especially after getting back to good performances. Villa last week, Champions League's in their hands now. The big one is tonight, innit? What a monster! Unfortunately, I'm at a wedding tonight, so I'm not going to be able to see. I think that's such an intriguing game to watch. I'd love to be able to watch that tonight.
Gav said West Ham are at full strength, but Christ, if West Ham do get 3 points, they leapfrog. They leapfrog
them both, don't
they? No, they won't leapfrog Forest because of goal difference.
The same points as Forest,
but they'll dump Spurs in that bottom 3. And Wolves are such an intriguing prospect as well. Obviously, they've picked up massively. Got themselves to 17 points, which they never looked like getting anywhere near. After the first 10 games of the season, and it's one of those, isn't it? If we can be going into Monday night with it still like a free hit in terms of, not that pressure of West Ham, because it will be bonkers at 32 games that 18th has 32 points. That would be bonkers. That's 18th above will all be plus 30 points with with 6 games left. 18 points.
Last season, all 4 of us are safe, right?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure all 4 of us are safe on the points that we're on.
Yeah.
Last season.
Crazy.
Which is nuts with 7 games still to go. So, yeah, I think it's. I mean, if you're a neutral watching the relegation battle in the Premier League, you're buzzing, aren't you? Like, it's such an interesting and intriguing situation, especially with Spurs being in there. You've got 1 promoted team in there. You've got 2 teams that have been fairly established. West Ham being pretty established. Forest newly established. And you've got all the dynamics and the change of managers. It's a fascinating picture to watch. I think the Spurs away game is gonna be big. I think that's going to be a massive game, and in 4 games time.
Monday night as well. That's been moved to
Monday night.
God.
May the 11th, I think it is. Before I go on holiday. I was going to say something. Oh yeah, the Spurs situation. You ask about whether it'll make a difference to how Farke goes into Monday night's game.
Yeah.
How different is it for Spurs because I think they play Sunday.
Yeah.
I think so. Spurs play Sunday. How different is it for them if West Ham win tonight and they're in the bottom 3? Because Spurs will be in the bottom 3 with 7 games to go. Like, that is a huge kind of psychological shift to play from.
I think you're right. I think it really sets the tone for it, this Sunderland game, and that result. Like you say, if they go and win, it's like that confidence will flow, you would imagine. It's like, yeah, De Zerbi in, top manager, we're getting going. Yeah. But if it's a stinker again, then straight away pressure mounts. This is, the press are going to be going crazy because he's getting paid a ridiculous amount of money. He's got a long contract and everything else. And I'm really hoping that narrative just, keeps Spurs down, because they've been absolute garbage. But like you say, it feels like it's in their heads. And if that clicks all of a sudden, they are more than capable. Even though, they have got a bloody hard running of Spurs.
They've got the hardest of the group, haven't they?
It's a crazy running. They've got Villa away, the playoffs obviously, but they've got Chelsea away and then Everton at home. It's some really tough games in there. But it's fascinating. It's the power of the mind, isn't it? And if it clicks for them, you do fancy them to. And this was what Leeds United were always up against this season. Because of the Sunderland thing as well. I think we probably all expected Sunderland to make up one of the bottom 3 spots, which would have made it a lot easier if they'd have just been crap, if they could have done us a favour and just been terrible. But it's trying to get 2 big hitters out of the league, you look at Forest. He's done a good job, hasn't he, really? He's gone in, he's stabilised them, the battered Spurs away. There's a feeling, I think with Forest now, they're going to be okay. I think, he's got them clicking and working. I can see them, might not happen against Villa at the weekend, but I think they're going to have enough. We know how talented they are. And whereas Leeds, it's like, we just don't have the same talent levels of these teams, you know what I mean? And that's what's so hard about it.
I think Forest finished the highest out of the 4 of us. Personally, I just think they've got too much attacking intent. Even when they were struggling and not scoring goals, they were still creating loads of chances, and that's the biggest problem if your team's creating chances or not. It's all really fascinating down there, and I can't wait to kind of see how it pans out. And I do think it's an interesting dynamic to kind of ask you, because I think we've both come to the agreement, if we had to put as kind of like as opinion to wall, not sitting on the fence, I think we've both kind of said we'll stay up. We'll get enough points to stay up given the position that we're in. But do you think there'll be a position between now and the end of the season where we're in the bottom 3? Our I'm going to say quote unquote easier games, right? We've got Wolves coming up, but then Bournemouth away, which I personally think we go down and lose. After that, we've got Spurs away, worst home record in the division, by the way. Brighton at home, Burnley at home, West Ham away. Like, within, especially them 2 home games in the middle of that, you'd think that is where we're going to get us points. Yeah,
I'm going to say no. I don't think we'll go into the bottom 3.
Right.
But I think if we go in the bottom 3, let's say after 34 games we're in the bottom 3, Me being completely honest, I think we're done. I don't think we'll be able to.
So you think the psychological time?
Yeah, I think if we do drop into that bottom three in, say, the next 2, 3, 4 games, I think we will then struggle to get out of it. A, it will mean the other teams are getting enough points. And B, we've just hit this snag where, we're not scoring very many and the injuries and blah, blah, blah. I think psychologically that would be very, very difficult. Although, like you say, we do have the games. We've got the games to do it. I
don't. I see it the other way.
Yeah.
So I think there's a real reality that we might be. So we've got Manchester United away on Monday, right? Most people will have us down as losing that. We've got Wolves at home at the weekend. Let's just say we do pick 3 points. Wolves have been difficult to beat recently. That could easily be a point, and we could be flapping all over the place that day. But let's just say we pick up 3 points, so we then go to 36.
Yeah.
And then we lose to Bournemouth. Yeah. Right? So that means we're taking 3 out of the next 3. If what a lot of fans for some reason think is going to happen and that all them teams around us are going to take loads of points, if we only take 3 from the next 3, the likelihood is that we probably are in the bottom 3, especially if West Ham win tonight.
Yeah.
So we then find ourselves in a situation where we're going to I think, is Brighton first or is Burnley first? I can't remember.
2 seconds. I've got the fixtures up here. We have got Burnley first.
First.
Burnley, then Spurs, then Brighton.
Burnley, then Spurs, then Brighton, then West Ham. So we find ourselves in a situation where that game becomes basically your season. The Burnley at home, because you win that game and it swings it back the other way, doesn't it? And it probably takes you into the momentum. You then follow that up with Spurs away, worst home form in the division. Who knows how they'll be come that point? And then Brighton at home. I mean, I fancy us to beat Brighton at home every day of the week. Our last home game of the season, we'll just drag it over the line.
Yeah.
So I think there's a reality in which we could be, and I'm not going to start. Personally, I won't have an absolute wobble unless the performances are horrendous.
Have we? Just a quick question. This you just made me think. There, have we tightened up a little bit at home compared to away? And actually, could that pressure at home kind of mount a little bit? I don't know. I'm a little bit concerned on that front. I think.
So you're concerned about the home form?
A little bit. A little bit. I just think. I think the pressure, the anxiety around it. I think you could argue we've got a little bit more freedom when we play away from home. Although we've not won a bloody game away from home, we've been very, very competitive. We've picked up a lot of vital points. I just wonder if there's anything to that. I mean, God, can you imagine that Brighton game if we're still kind of waiting around? It'll be like, oh my good Lord, Ellen Road will be absolutely cooking at that point.
I mean, it would. I'd like to believe that it was going to be rampant, you know what I mean? It'll be a vociferous atmosphere. I'm just looking at we're bringing up the form where you were chatting there. We obviously had the Sunderland and Man City back-to-back 1-0 losses, which maybe are skewing our thoughts a little bit. I still, we were very good against Man City. We were unlucky not to get something out of that game. We conceded 1 shot on target against Sunderland at home, which were a penalty. And then before that, we beat Forest 3-1 at home. That was last win, 6th of February, which feels like a long time ago now, doesn't it? But that is Premier League. We've drawn 4 and lost 2 in that time.
Yeah. God. A couple of comments here just quickly. Friend of the show, Lou, you know that the last spot is going down to the final game of the season, and you could have a huge say in what happens.
We could, whether we're involved in it or not. Yeah. I 100% believe whether we're involved in it or not, that West Ham game is going to be massive.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, God.
JB's going to send me over the edge.
Mr. Positive. Do you know what? Because he's got the same with you. Sometimes I'm like, is this like an alternative version of you? There's like another dimension where it's like a Jason Booker that's like, completely negative and like other side of the fence. But Jay, 6 players out, all because Farke wanted a cup run. Can I do want to quickly say
you answer it.
I got into a back and forth on another content creator's comments on YouTube because I don't normally get into any of that kind of thing, but I was just reading it and it triggered me. And I was like, I ended up replying to this guy 2 or 3 times. And it was getting like paragraphs. It was getting to that point where you're replying paragraphs, they're replying paragraph. And I was like, right, stop. Just stop. I ain't got time to be doing this. But I just find it absolutely staggering. It ties in a little bit about the news about Tanaka. Apparently, journalist Plettenberg has come out saying he's open to leaving. And all this response I've heard is it's Farke's fault that Tanaka wants to leave. How can we let Tanaka go? Farke bashing, Farke bashing, Farke bashing. And it frustrates me no end. I just think there's a complete... Whether we stay up or go down, I think he is criminally disrespected, Farke, from our own fan base. Now, I don't want to say fan base. I'm talking about the social media element, Twitter, YouTube, comments, whatever it is. I'm staggered at how this guy is viewed. He's just got us to our first FA Cup semi-final in 39 years. He achieved his objective of hauling us back from the Championship to the Premier League. At the moment, we're 4 points outside the relegation zone, so we're on course at the moment. I find it absolutely staggering, the amount of criticism that this man gets. I cannot believe... If you'd have said 10 years ago, this is where we would be. Remember the mess we were in 10 years ago? And say, we're complaining about a manager that's done all this. I would be absolutely... I mean, the financial figures came out and the line was, yeah, but he had the most expensive squad in the Championship, most wages and all that. It's like, fine, look how the relegated Premier League teams are doing this year.
Don't matter, does it?
Doesn't matter. If you're a car crash, if you're not competent, what happened doesn't matter how much money you throw at it. So he's delivered what was expected of it or what he needed to achieve. And now he's gone above with this FA Cup run. I just find it staggering that us, and I think it's a new phenomenon. I think it's Arsenal fan TV mentality. I think it's that whole clickbait, rage bait. We're never happy. We're never going to be happy. Whatever happens, whatever he does, no, there's just something to pick about. I mean, it's the way some Arsenal fans go at Arteta online. It's incredible. And I just, let's not be that. Let's not go down that line. Let's celebrate a manager who's doing really, really fantastically well for us.
There's a huge section of the fan base that's completely delusional. They've lost complete perspective of where we are, who we are. We're far too seeded in history, in a time which it unfortunately doesn't matter. Really, it doesn't. Like I'm proud of our history. I'm proud of the early 90s. I'm proud of the Champions League days and all that. But in terms of the relativity and what it means in terms of modern, where we are in this table right now, it means nothing. We are, in terms of recent history, smaller than Burnley, smaller than Sheffield United, smaller than Southampton, Leicester, and I could go on and on and on. There's teams in the Championship, the likes of, I'm just trying to think of one off the top of my head, Hull, that have spent more time in the Premier League over the past 20 years. You know what I mean? Like, we are so disconnected from it, and for whatever reason, there's a big section of the online fan base. I don't know if this goes for just the widespread, but certainly online, what I read in comments, what you read on social media, see on live streams, in YouTube comments, all the rest of it, that are so like narrow viewed to Leeds United finished 9th under Bielsa. That was what we expected. Yeah. Because when we were last in the Premier League, we were successful, and that's where we should be now. And that's just not reality. I've said it all season, and I'll say it regardless of where we finish this season. We have a bottom 3 team. We do. And right now, Daniel Farke is overachieving. Certainly the squad. You can make some arguments that we might be the 17th worst team in terms of the starting 11. Fine, I can get on board with that. But the squad is hands down bottom 3. Right now, we're in front of Forest and Spurs, who have got a far, far better squad than us. Way better. You change all 11 starting players from both teams for hours. You can't convince me otherwise. So to be so unnecessarily unfair to the man that has achieved what he's achieved this season so far and taken us to an FA Cup semi-final is wild. Now, we're not going to bring up all of these comments individually because and we do appreciate them all, but I just want to say again, stop putting words in our mouths, because we're not saying, me and Browney both said on the last show, we would snap your hands off right now taking Premier League survival over winning the FA Cup. This isn't about one or the other. No. They both exist together. the players that got injured at the weekend, that can happen at any point as a footballer. Yeah. They train every single day. Footballers prefer playing football games, right? They would have all wanted to play a game at the weekend. None of them will have wanted resting. You could actually argue after an international break that getting them back into form is actually more of a priority than resting them and saving them for tonight. Or maybe we'll see with West Ham tonight. Maybe this will all come back to bite me on the ass. But my way of seeing it is I would have rather have played a strong team going into that game. I think the psychological edge that we get over West Ham from beating West Ham last week is important as well. That's why I didn't like the tie in the first place, Browney. I'd much prefer to play Brentford than West Ham. So if you're looking to now smash Farke over the head because some players got injured, you have got the problem with Daniel Farke. The problem isn't Daniel Farke, it's you. You're the problem.
Yeah, I agree. Just to flash through a few comments, Lou, no one has a right to stay in the Premier League. Be grateful for what he's achieved with this squad. Cosmo, in my opinion, Farke has performed a miracle. Michael, Tanaka talk is agent talk. It's similar to when Nanto refused to play away to Birmingham City. It was his agent behind it. Farke needs to sit down with Tanaka as it might get out of hand. JBL, Brownie, I don't want to ruin the positive energy. I just feel you both have to be fair as well. You've got to have consistency. I think we are consistent, to be honest.
We're very consistent.
I appreciate comment, but I do think we are very consistent. Michael, if Farke keeps Leeds up, he has done his job. If Leeds were to go down, we need Farke with his record in the Championship to take Leeds back up. Yeah, we've talked about that before. I just feel like this, it's frustrating. I mean, this is how close I was anyway, Jay. I nearly put out a video on my own. I was going to do like a 10-15 minute video in praise of Farke just to get something out there. I think this is why we missed Joe Wayman, like in the ether as well. That's someone who's willing to, say, yeah, he's done brilliant and get that positivity out there. It's like, we don't owe, Farke doesn't owe Tanaka anything. Farke explained it perfectly in the press conference yesterday. He said, Tanaka's made mistakes. Tanaka had confidence issues. Tanaka himself said he didn't know if he was up to this level, but he's recently trained very well. He had a brilliant performance against West Ham. I love Tanaka. Of course, I would love Tanaka to kind of take that mantle on and be good enough and play 30 games for Leeds. I love watching Tanaka, but not at the expense of how the team are doing. And we've said it, we've been very consistent. Tanaka made mistakes. He didn't take his opportunities when he came in before. He's also had some very good moments, goals against Chelsea, Liverpool, vital, important moments. And just because he's not played as much as some would have expected, it's absolutely fine. He might come in, he might be the difference in this running. He might be able to come in and add an extra dimension that keeps us up, and I'll be delighted for it. We don't have to rewrite this thing going, well, he should have played. Here's when people go on about Ramazani. Last season, Ramazani not played. It's like, we won the Championship with 100 points. What are you talking about Ramazani for? What are you talking about Ramazani for?
It was dropped because he deserved to be dropped. He was losing us points. Single-handedly, he was costing us. And he wasn't ready mentally. Technically, he's very good. Technically, he's better than Ilya Gruev. But he was absolutely right to be dropped. I just want to bring up these couple of comments by JB, because I think they're quite interesting, because I think, again, we feed into this narrative a little bit. So we definitely do criticise Daniel Farke. If you have not heard that, it's because you're either not watching the show enough, or you're choosing not to listen, because we certainly do. We criticised him quite heavily about something last week. I can't remember what it was, but we did. There was something in particular that we really went into with regards to it. And this starting 11. Okay, so Lucas Perry, backup goalkeeper right now. Yeah, Gabby Goodmanson didn't play, so he's a starting left back. We didn't start Brendan Aronson. We started Tanaka. We didn't start Dominic Calvert-Lewin. We started Mecha. That's 4 off the top of my head. So that's you're talking nearly half of your team straight away, JB. So again, you've got this narrative. You want Farke to be the bad man so bad that you make this reality not real. So you're saying that we're not being consistent. Well, you be consistent. Yeah, be fair with your opinions.
Yeah.
And we will 100% criticise it. I thought it was wrong not to bring Lucas Perry back in after the last cup game. I didn't get it. I said that openly. I didn't get it. There is he's not perfect, and I am not Daniel Farke over Leeds United. I'm not. I care only about Leeds United being successful as we can be given the landscape. I'm just real, and I have a sense of reality in that our achievement this season is finishing 17th on goal difference. Right now, he's achieving beyond that. So I see it as everybody pulling in the same direction is what's best for Leeds United. And when we have this negative spin and connotation, constant bashing, don't think that that's helping. It's actually hindering us. Yeah,
no, absolutely. This is why I bit on this, other content creators' YouTube comments, because I was just like, this is crazy. It was like you would have thought, we were sitting bottom of the league and getting embarrassed every week the way they were going on about it. Do want to raise Digler's point here. I think this is really crucial as well, Digler. In my experience of speaking to Leeds fans in real life, not social media, they appreciate what Farke is doing. It's mainly on social media that there is a lot of Farke hours. Yeah, I think that is key to know, because, friends that I text about Leeds, I agree with that. But I think, we've got to be careful kind of what's put out there, because it can bleed into, like the guy that ran on the pitch at the Aston Villa game, telling Farke to make a sub. These things can bleed over. I think we've got to inject a bit more positivity into how we're thinking about this. We've got to enjoy this. We've made an FA Cup semi-final for the first time in 39 years. There was a guy that commented on our last stream that went, oh yeah, but you've just beaten championship teams and one would-be championship team. I'm like, you are a Leeds United fan and you are pissing on us getting to the FA Cup semi-final.
In the same weekend that Southampton beat Arsenal.
Yeah.
A championship tie. And this comment, again, you're on the same vibe, JB. You wanting it to be negative. He's bang average. He's one of the best 20 managers in the country. Out of all of football in this country, we have one of the best 20 managers in the country. That's not bang average. Like, no, exactly. Daniel Farke isn't Pep or Arteta. Fine. I'm all right with that. Yeah. But you're talking about one of the top 1% of all managers that you are. Like, if you reel it, that's what you're talking about. And, people give him so much stick because of what he did before he came to Leeds United. Everything he's done at Leeds United, everything has been pretty positive.
Yeah.
You can probably label season one at him in that he should have maybe got that team up. But there was still so much that went on in the early part of that season that he had to contend with that the average casual fan just doesn't even comprehend. Oh, we had Jorginho, Rutter and Somerville and Sinistero and then Nonto. No, what about all of the problems that he had to unpack in them first few weeks? And me and Browney, I've said this so many times, me and Browney came back from that playoff final and said, he's got to go. He's got to go. We did. With me and Browney both on that journey back, we said he's got to go. And we were wrong. We were so wrong.
100%. Absolutely. We were driving back up the motorway. I was like, if he's gone tomorrow, good. I was like, fine. Do you know what I mean? I was like, yeah, but he rebuilt and, he's taken us to another level. There we go. Well, we got a bit distracted there. I know. We've got to go. Look, JB, we appreciate you commenting and
we do.
And it stirs up the debate, and I really like it. I just hope that when people are watching other content creators and responding to things, we can just have a bit of balance with it. And just, I think Farke deserves a lot more credit and respect. And look, if we go down, we go down. I still think he's done an absolutely sterling job. And it is what it is. But hopefully that won't happen. It's going to be strap yourself in time.
Quickly, because I know you need to go at 12. Prediction for Monday. Let's do quick prediction for Monday. I'm going to try and talk into the ether. Okay. Yeah. Injury hit Leeds United. Yeah. Foil Manchester United at Old Trafford. 1-0. Shithouse. Bornau header. 85th minute. We hold on. Win 1-0. I'm talking it into reality. I don't really know if I believe that, but I'm talking it up.
I would love it. I would absolutely love it, just to get one of those kind of wins, which we've not had all season. Just something amazing like that. I can't join you on that level, though. I'm sorry. I'm going to go draw. And I don't feel like I'm telling the truth there either, because I probably don't believe we'll even get that. But I'm going to try and talk that at least into it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd take a point now if you gave me it. Look, we'll keep a close eye on it tonight. I'll have to text you, Jay, let you know how it's going.
Yeah.
If I get a chance to watch it as well. And yeah, we'll just see. No more international breaks, no more distractions now. It's full steam ahead. We'll be back with Monday night for a review straight after the game. So, guys, if you watch along, get tuned in after Monday's game. Me and Jay will be on to give our thoughts on that one. But thank you to everyone who commented. If you've not done so already, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. I've been Stephen Brown, with me is Jason Booker. Thank you, Jason.
Thank you, mate.
And we will see you again soon. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.